it's Michelle Snyder here, local realtor in Indianapolis, Indiana. And today I want to talk to you about 7 ways that you can make your offer stand out in today's market. Now, if you're a buyer, you know what I'm talking about. A house goes on the market, you go see the house and you find out you're competing against 20 or 30 offers on this home. So how can you make your offer stand out in today's market? Well, I'm going to give you 7 ways right now. Number 1 is obviously you need to have your pre-approval, and you need to make sure that your realtor has a copy of that so they can send that on with your offer to the listing agent. Number 2 is your earnest money. If you can increase your earnest money a little bit, it actually does stand out to a seller. And remember, you get credited back your earnest money at closing, so you're not losing that money. Number 3 is you need to make sure that you're moving quickly and making the offer right after you see the house. Because if you wait a few days, that house will probably not be available. Number 4, remove contingencies. Now, obviously, if you have a home to sell, a seller's not going to look at that contingency in your offer, so you might as well wait till your home is sold. But the other contingencies that are in a purchase agreement are the appraisal and the inspection. Now, the appraisal can't be removed because if you're getting a loan on the property, the lender's going to require an appraisal. But the inspections can be removed. You have an option to either A, have the property inspected, or you can waive inspections. And what I've been seeing on the listings that I've had, people are waiving inspections, which is really an interesting thing because us realtors, we really don't, when we're representing the buyers, we don't really recommend that, but buyers are willing to do that in order to make their offer stand out. Now, you are protected a little bit in the state of Indiana. There's a seller's disclosure statement that the sellers have to fill out that basically states if there's anything that they know of, known defects, like if the roof is leaking, etc. So you'll have some knowledge before you buy the home and close on the home. So if there's something that came up after closing, you could potentially go after the seller for that, but you'd have to go through the court system to do that. Now, number 5 is you want to be flexible as much as possible. So let's say the seller is building a home and their home's not going to be done for a couple months. If you can give them that time in the home after closing or be flexible with them, that offer of yours is going to stand out. Number 6 is an escalation clause. I've seen a lot of realtors do this. I've done this myself. But what I will tell you, an escalation clause is basically where you say, listen, our offer is this, but we're willing to increase our offer in $1,000 increments to a maximum of this amount. Now, what's interesting about an escalation clause, they're great, but if you don't clarify in the escalation clause that you're willing to pay above appraised value at your maximum, a lot of times sellers are throwing those out. So a lot of realtors will actually, rather than using an escalation clause, they'll basically say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what are you willing to pay for this house outside of appraisal? Let's say the house appraised for $240. What are you willing to give? So your offer's, $230, appraisal was $240. What are you willing to pay above and beyond that? So if they're willing to pay $250, you basically will say, buyer will pay, in addition, $10,000 over appraised value. So, or to a maximum of X amount, depending on how your realtor wants to write that. That is actually standing out to sellers right now. The last thing is a letter. Now, it sounds kind of cheesy, but I'll tell you what, if you write a letter with a picture of yourself, your little boyfriend, your husband, your little family, and the dog in front of like the Christmas tree, maybe from your Christmas photo, or maybe a photo session that you just recently had, that, and wrote a letter about yourself, where you guys went to school, what you're doing, etc., that actually stands out to sellers as well. They actually read those letters, and it can sometimes get emotional for them. So like I said, those are 7 ways that any way that you can possibly think of to make your offer stand out is the items that I've used, these 7 ways to help my buyers make their offer stand out and win in a competitive situation. Now, if you have any questions about the home buying process, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help. Have a great day.